It's been a while. I don't know if I can zoom that in or not. Nope, apparently not. So you get to see my mess behind me. Hi, I'm Lynn. I am the Wayward Skein, and this is episode 67 of my podcast. I can't tell if it's actually doing anything or not. I've never done this before, live on YouTube. I'm sorry about the crappy placement. Unfortunately, I've misplaced my webcam, so I'm forced to do this using my phone because none of the webcams on the 3 computers that I have on the desk in front of me record in high enough quality to be able to bother for a podcast. So this is what we've got for this one specific episode. I apologize. I wish I had a better background for you. This is my bedroom behind me. There's a universal dim back there. That's my closet. There's a bunch of empty boxes. It is what it is. This is what I have to work with for today. But I did want to get an episode out this week while I was still motivated to do it, and I will find my webcam later. Hi, Darlene. Oh my goodness, I'm going to get chat on the screen. This is so cool. I've never done this before. So, the bug to start knitting again came back about 3 months ago. And I was actually clearing snow off my car. And I hope I'm actually looking at where the thing is recording. I can't tell. And I can't lift it up either. Let me see if I can find something to set that on. This might work. I do apologize. Rank beginner. So I'm actually going to use this cup that I have from Andrea. Hello, Dancing Leaf. I forget what people's names are, so I apologize for that. That's not going to work because there's nothing to back it onto. Okay. Well, we tried. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe if I, oh, look at that. She can be taught. So now you're seeing a whole bunch of my ceiling instead, but at least I don't feel like the top half of my face is cut off. So anyway, it has been 2 years since I recorded a podcast episode. The last one I put out was on April 29th, 2020. My show notes are like literally on the monitor behind the camera, so it has been 2 years. I've missed it. I've missed you guys. I've missed knitting because I haven't been knitting for those 2 years. A lot has happened. I've moved. I'm no longer in the same house. That was an experience. Long story. You don't want to know. I am, as I mentioned in my little pre-podcast little blurb thing, I am now single. That was also an experience. And anyway, there we are. So my life consists of working and sleeping and working and then working the other job and then sleeping some more. So basically that is my life these days. I haven't socialized with anyone in well over a year, I think. I remember going to Crystal's for dinner in October of 2020. I don't really remember doing anything else since then. I've been over to my friends Sylvia and Sarah's house once or twice just to stop in to chat, but never for very long. And yeah, that's my life. I work and I sleep and occasionally I eat. I'm working on the eating more regularly thing so I don't get yelled at, but there we are. So that's my life. And so recently I started knitting again because I was clearing off my car and my hands were cold. And I was like, why are my hands cold? I'm a knitter. I should be able to deal with this. So that was my impetus to get back into knitting. So I will start with the things that I finished since I saw you last. There's a couple of things that you aren't going to see that I finished, and there's a couple of big things that I are in the majorly naughty pile. Obviously, I stopped working on the lace chuppah. Big surprise. Although I'm now thinking I may finish it and donate it to my temple as a community chuppah that can be used when people want to get married. I'm thinking about it. That is likely what's going to happen because I don't want to waste all that yarn and all the work I've already put into it. So that is likely what is going to happen with it. Rabbi Liz, if you're watching, surprise. I don't know if they're going to want it either because we're a very small shawl, but we'll see. So the first thing that I have finished, I cannot show you because it has been given to its recipient. I knit a Midas hat by Laura Reinbach out of fingering weight navy blue yarn. This is love, folks. But I knit it for someone who is very special to me. But I've already given it to him, so I can't show you. I have a picture of me wearing it on the Ravelry page, on my project page, so I will pop that in the show notes. Not on YouTube, obviously, but I will pop it on the show notes on Ravelry and probably on the blog as well. Once I get around to actually doing all this. I have written up the show notes, so at least I just have to copy paste. It took me 19 days to knit that hat. That's how dedicated I was to knitting that hat for him, because it was not fun to knit. Honestly, I was a little afraid because there was a new technique for me. It was a folded over and sewn in brim, like to double it. And I'd never done that before. I had watched Carrie do it once or twice on sweater hems, but I'd never done it myself. And I was a little terrified, and it was a little nerve-wracking to do because you're basically, I don't really know how to explain it even. Because you sew it on after you continue knitting. So it was one of the final things to do on the hat. It was a little scary, but managed. I keep looking at the X in the top corner of the phone instead of actually at the camera. So I'm going to try to do a little bit better at that. So I can't show you that hat. It was lovely. He loved it. He put it on. It fit him. He was happy. But he was supposed to send me a picture of him wearing it. He has not done that yet. But there we are. So that was my first thing that I knit, was actually a hat for him. I think I did my mitts first, but I finished them after I finished his hat, so it's a moot point. The other thing, I had started knitting him this hat, which is the Jason's Cashmere hat by Melissa Thompson. But then he said, oh, well, I won't be able to wear it to work because the place I work for, it has to be a navy blue hat, plain, or it has to be a branded hat from the company. So that's where the navy blue Midas hat came from. It was a fingering weight navy blue. I bought the yarn specifically for the hat because I couldn't find my navy blue fingering weight in my stash. Sorry, my hair's a little wild right now. It turned out to be a very lovely hat. But this was what I had originally wanted to knit. So I started this one first. This is, as I said, the Jason's Cashmere hat by Melissa Thompson. It now belongs to my son, Zach. It's knit out of Stylecraft Life Aran weight in Nutmeg Marl is the colorway. It was bought at the Real Wool Shop in Carlton Place in 2010, which I believe is still there. This one took me 23 days because I will admit that after he told me he wouldn't be able to wear it, I wasn't horribly motivated to finish it. But then Zach was like, well, I'd like a hat. So I finished it for him. It was done on size US 6 needles, which is a 4mm, and size US 8, which is a 5mm. It took me 23 days to finish. I don't know why I got a wild hair to put the time it took me to complete these projects in the list, but I did, so you get to hear about it. It's got these nifty little cables. It's actually quite a lovely yarn to knit with for all that it's acrylic. I really enjoy knitting with the Stylecraft yarns. They're sort of a generic yarn. I think it's a discount brand of yarn, but I really enjoy knitting with them. They're great for baby projects, and they're really good for hats. So that was one of my finished objects that I can actually show you. I had to steal it from him yesterday because he was wearing it, and I said, "Can I borrow it?" So now he gets it back, and he'll be very happy. So this is what started the whole thing, and they're in pretty rough shape. They need a wash because my car got stuck, and Zach actually borrowed my mitts to dig under the car. I was devastated when he got back in the car. I looked at them. I'm like, I haven't even worn them yet. And look at them. They're very dirty. Very, very dirty. And they're very, very fluffy now because of all the digging around he did in the dirt. In the ice, rather. My car got stuck on a bed of ice. And they are full of hair for some reason. I'm not sure why. On the inside. So these are my mittens. They're fraternal twins. It's fine. I couldn't get quite the same color matchup. It's close. I mean, I've got the same colors, but there's subtle differences. Like on this one, the yellow and the white are clear, and on this one, they have a little bit of this turquoise mixed in. But these are my mittens. These are my go-to mitten. I've knit these probably a dozen times. They are the Basic Children's Mitten by Elizabeth Durand. It is a charity pattern she did for Syrian refugees. I knit several pairs for those. But I mean, this is just my go-to comfort knit mitten pattern because I don't need the pattern anymore to knit them. I can do it by heart. I did screw up a few things on these, though. I didn't do the extra couple of rows before starting the thumb gusset. And I messed up something on the thumb too. No, it was Zach's. I messed up something on the thumb. So anyway, yeah, I messed up the thumb gussets a little bit, but that's okay because I have short hands and they fit me and they're perfect. So that works. And the yarn is Schachenmeyer SMC Colorful in colorway number 80, which I bought at Janie H. Knits in Perth in 2012. So I've been doing some deep stash diving lately. These took me 2 months because I was working on Tom's hat. So there we are. So those are my mittens. You may, if you followed the Two Tangled Skeins podcast, you may remember that I knit an identical pair of mittens a very long time ago. The first time I wore those mittens out of the house, I lost one. I think I still have the stray laying around the house somewhere. I think it's in my mitten and hat box somewhere by the front door. So I decided that I still had 2 skeins of this left. And I wanted my mittens back from it. So I knit the same mittens all over again. I'm realizing that I'm being extremely long-winded here, so I'm going to try to move things along a little bit quicker because I do have a lot of stuff. So then... Sorry, I need to scroll down a little bit in my show notes. So then I knit, because Zach was like, well, I want a pair of mitts. It's very demanding. So these are Zach's mitts. They're a little bit longer than mine because he had bigger hands. And I messed up the thumb on this one. I picked up too many stitches for the thumb. His are a little more fraternal than mine are because I didn't care where I started on his. And he didn't care either. So it's a moot point. But it's the same pattern. It's the Basic Children's Mitten. These are huge. God, he's got big hands. They're so much bigger than mine. Because I also didn't keep all the stitches around for mine. I had a smaller stitch count around the hand because I know I have small hands. His are big, so I made his full size, and they're huge. Huge! So this is the same yarn. Schachenmeyer SMC Colorful. This is colorway number 83. Sorry, both pairs of mittens were done on a US 8, which is 5mm needle. They are these, oh, and they're behind the monitor now, so I can't show you, but they're these lovely bamboo needles. I believe they're clover, but they're very, very pointy, and I really enjoyed knitting with them. So his were done more according to pattern than mine were, although I did mess up and forget to remove 2 stitches on this thumb. But yeah, they're closer to the original pattern than mine are, and he likes them a lot. These took me 9 days. So by that point, and I knit part of these during a trip to Virginia. I was knitting on them in the hotel and on the plane. So one entire mitten got completed on the plane and at the hotel. So Those are his mitts. He'll be glad to have those back too. They live in the car. What else have I worked on? I have worked on this other hat. So I haven't blocked it because it's acrylic and I don't know if it'll bother blocking, but when you wear it, it looks good. It's a really cute little hat. I will. I'm so going to regret this. So I will put it on. I don't wear hats because of this. This literally pushes hats off my head. But I just wanted you guys to be able to see because it's got this lovely little lace thing going around it that is variable, like it tapers. But it's not for me. It is probably going to go into the charity pile unless somebody desperately wants it. But yeah, it's the Central Park hat by Mina Phillip, who is the knitting expat. I had bought her New York hat collection a while back and I'd never knit any of them. So I decided, I'm just going to pick a random ball out of my stash. And there's this big flat rectangular container on my bed right now of random balls of acrylic that were in my stash. And that's what I've been picking out of for projects. My goal is to empty that bin and get rid of it all. So I knit the Central Park hat. It is a US 6 needle, which is a 4mm, and a US 7, which is a 4.5. That is not what the pattern calls for, but I didn't have a US 5 because that's what it wanted you to do the ribbing on, was a US 5. I didn't have one. So I just figured, you know what? 1/4 millimeter? It's all good because the US 5 is 3.75 millimeters. Sometimes you just have to go with what's good enough. In knitting, anyway. So I don't know what this yarn is. I have no idea. I don't even know where it came from, when I got it. I was looking through my bin of acrylics. I didn't recognize it. Most of those balls, I know exactly where they came from and when I acquired them. No clue. No idea. I think there might be some wool in it because it's a little toothy for acrylic. But I don't know. Wasn't going to do a burn test. I don't care. I'm sure the fiber content is not going to be the first concern of the person who ends up with this hat. That's all I'm saying. So I did finish this. This one took me 6 days. And it only took me that long because I got frustrated because the instructions on how to, because you see here how the lace tapers around the top. The instructions on how to do that were very unclear. And I put it in the naughty pile for a little while I tried to decide what I was going to do. I figured it out on my own. It's all good. But the instructions were very unclear. And I actually showed it to my knitting group on Facebook. And I was like, what do you guys think this means? And they were like, So the fact that much more experienced knitters than myself had trouble figuring it out made me feel a little bit better about the whole thing. But yeah, this is the Central Park hat by Mina Phillip. It's a lovely little pattern. The lace was very intuitive. I really enjoyed knitting it. Sorry, as I stick my hands through the holes. I really enjoyed knitting it. It was a quick little knit. I will probably knit the rest of the hats in the book because it's an ebook. I think there's 5 or 6 of them. So that's another finished object. And I believe, am I out of finished objects? I am not. Okay, so this is the teeniest, tiniest finished object. This took me 2 hours. But it was an experiment and I wanted to see if it was going to work. And I really, really enjoyed knitting it. So I plan on making a lot more of these. It's a little pot scrubber. Whoop, wrong way. It's not like usual camera where you're going the opposite direction of where you want to turn. You actually have to go the right direction. So this is a little pot scrubby. The pattern is called the Spilo Scrubby by Clickety Sticks. It is knit out of acrylic. It was Bernat Super Value Solids. I have a big skein of it. I just wanted to give it a go. I wanted to do it in acrylic to see if maybe it would have a little more scrubbing power than the cotton ones do. I haven't tried it yet, obviously, because I wanted it to be clean when I showed you. But that's what this is. It is a very, very quick knit. I think there are 12 rows back and forth, so 24 rows to the pattern. It's a freebie on Rav. These have all been free. Well, no, the Central Park hat wasn't. It was a paid for. But yeah, it's a free pattern. It's super quick, super easy. I made a second one and I screwed it up. I quit one row too soon. I thought I had gone back and forth, but I hadn't. So it doesn't look quite as nice as this one. It's a little wonkier, but I'm sure it'll work just as well. But yeah, my idea was that I could knit these and maybe give them to people with, I don't know, housewarming gifts, baby shower gifts, because if they're made out of soft cotton, they would be good as washcloths, like little scrubby things. And they're easy for a kid to hang on to, because whatever. This is knit with 8mm needle, which is US 5. I was using my nifty little bamboo needles that I was so enamored with. So, yes, I knit myself a pot scrubber. So that's technically a finished object. Come on now. And the only other thing that I knit, and this is hilarious. I'll take a sip while I'm here. I didn't make myself tea because it's too hot for tea right now. Too hot for me for tea. I've entered that stage of life where I'm always hot. And yeah. So there were a little bit of leftovers from the mittens, and I used them to knit this. This is a little semi-screwed up linen stitch coaster. So this was the leftovers from the mittens. I made a little fringe because for some reason I forgot how to do linen stitch. I've done linen stitch. Well, I'm thinking I apparently never knew how to do linen stitch because I tried to do a scarf a while back and I was knitting all the way across the row, cutting the yarn, coming back to the beginning, knitting across the row, and I'm doing this backwards because you knit that way. But I was cutting the yarn after each time and going back to the other side of the needle instead of just purling back across. And it wasn't until I was catching up on old podcast episodes the other day, and I was watching Franklin Habit work on his interminable linen stitch scarf, that I realized that he purls back across the other side. And I was like, have I been doing this wrong this whole time? Yes, I have. I've just been knitting across, cutting the yarn, coming back to the beginning, knitting across, cutting the yarn, coming back to the beginning. So this was actually the two colors, his colorway and my colorway from our mittens. You can see the pink from mine, the purple and the teal was in both, the aqua-y, whatever. The actually deeper teal is from his. So I just knit myself this little coaster, and it has been sitting on my desk ever since, and it is getting a lot of use. It is where I put my Diet Coke every day. It's where I put my cup of tea. It's a teeny tiny little coaster. It took me 4 hours, 5 hours, as I've now moved my drink off of it. But yes, it sits on my desk, and that's my coaster. So I do plan on making more, properly this time. And I actually have a plan to use some of those random balls of acrylic, which are almost full skeins, for linen stitch placemats. I've always wanted to knit placemats or weave them. I plan to weave them, but I haven't been able to get the hang of weaving yet. I wanted a rigid heddle loom, and I allowed myself to be persuaded to buy a frame loom instead. They cost almost the same. It is a... Hi, Andrea! Woo! It's so weird for me to have things pop up on the screen. So I have this frame loom. It's a Stephen Willett frame loom, I believe, which is very, very nice wooden products. He makes a lot of really nice stuff. But I don't think frame weaving is for me. I would really like a table loom. Like, when I was a kid, I had the Fisher-Price loom. It was a tabletop loom. It was white and orange, and I made stuff on that thing. I made scarves. I love that thing. And I want a table loom, damn it. So until I get around to buying a loom or taking weaving class or anything like that, I'm going to make myself some linen stitch coasters. This is the first ball up for that project. I'm not going to start it anytime in the next day or two. Like, it's probably going to be in the next few weeks, but it's already wound up and it's sitting there waiting for me. So that is everything I have finished since I started knitting again in January. Not a lot has been touched. Right now, what I'm doing is as I'm unpacking and finding works in progress that were just thrown into random boxes because I'm really not good with the whole packing thing, I'm trying to find works in progress and finish them before I move on to something else. So we'll see how that goes. I've never been a monogamous knitter. We'll see how it goes. As for works in progress, I have been working on, sorry, I'll grab the finished one out. And I put it on the other day, so it's a little wonky. This is a sock pattern I designed back in 2016. Was it March 2017? I started knitting these. And they are a bit of an odd construction, as you can see. They look a little wonky because they haven't been blocked, but they look a little wonky because they're a weird construction. So they are top-down socks. They are knit, it's a nope, it's a 1, 2, it is a 3x1 rib at the top. And then it morphs into this purl and knit through the back loop pattern on the body of the sock. I'm not sure where that fluff came from, but okay. So it morphs into that on the body of the sock. I like shorty socks, you all know that. I did an eye of partridge heel, which looks super cool in this yarn. Look at that. I love how eye of partridge looks. Partridge. But these were designed specifically for me because I have special princess in the pea feet and I don't like the feel of purl bumps against my feet. I'm not kidding. This is why I don't wear knit socks. I can feel the purl bumps against the bottom of my foot and it bothers me. So these are knit, and there's a bridge there because I knit all my socks on DPNs. That'll block out, it's fine. They are knit in reverse stockinette on the bottom. And I'm not sure I like how I got to how this went at the heel. And I'm not sure, I switched to stockinette for the toe, so we'll see. Because purl bumps don't bother my toes, but they really bother the bottoms of my feet, the balls of my feet especially. So it's a wonky little sock. It's a weird sock. I don't know if I'm going to publish the pattern. We'll see. I may just, because I've had a couple of offers from people who were willing to test knit it. So we will see how they feel about the construction of the sock as they work on it. I'm still not through the second one. I don't even think I'm halfway through the foot. Let's be honest. This is taking forever because it is tedious to knit reverse stockinette. I've never liked doing reverse stockinette, and I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Okay, I'm about halfway through the foot. Thereabouts. I've got that much left. About that much. They will get finished eventually. It's one of the works in progress that I am determined to finish. So yes, a friend recently suggested that I call them the Princess and the Pea Socks because I explained why I designed them. And my friend agreed that was a good name for them, and he laughed at me a little bit. And so yeah, I really love the way the Eye of Partridge heel is coming up. It's just so pretty. So the yarn is Mia Bella Kitten, which is their sock yarn. Thanks, Andrea. She's this perfect name. Yes, because I have special need. I'm a big baby when it comes to knit socks, and I just don't like the purl bumps. So it's Mia Bella Kitten, which is a store. Mia Bella is a yarn store in Highland Park, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. It's a suburb of Chicago. And I got this at Stitches Midwest in 2015. I went to their booth, and it's so soft. It's such nice sock yarn. I don't know if they're still doing their own yarn, but I'm pretty sure the store is still there. It was still there when I went in 2018. Yeah, okay, I haven't been there in a while, and I'm not likely to be back in that area anytime soon. So this is a US 1.5, which is 2.5 millimeters, which is my standard sock needle. These are my Knitter's Pride carbons. I think it's Knitter's Pride carbons. Anyway, yes, I love these sock needles. They're my favorite. They're my go-to. I use them for everything small. I actually wish I had some of their cable needles. Working on it. So that is one of the things that I am trying to finish. Another thing I've worked on, and I'm giving myself a rash from messing around with a bunch of different things. Before anybody gets like worried or grossed out, that's normal for me. I get hives on a regular basis. So I had started this worsted acrylic mitered square blanket a few years ago, several years ago, 2019, I think I started it. So it's actually almost done. I think I may do one more row after this, just so it's square, because it's 9 across and I want it to be 9 tall too. This is just random scraps. Here's that orange from the hat that I wasn't sure about. And yeah, the more I touch it, the more I'm sure there's wool in it. But it's not all wool. This is from one of the mittens. Is it? Yes, I think. Yes, this was from my mitten. I don't have any of Zach's because there was far less left on his mittens. But yeah, so this one's worsted. It's acrylic. It's huge. It's a little too warm to work on right now for me. I've been having hot flash issues the last week or two. So I haven't worked on it in the last couple of weeks. But I'm looking to finish it soon, and I'll probably put a crochet border around the outside of it, and it will go to somebody's random baby. I don't know anybody. I don't think I know anybody who's pregnant right now. But this was just a quick way to use up some scraps. It didn't actually get rid of the scraps. It just used little bits of the scraps. But I've got other plans for the scraps as well. So, yeah. So it's just a basic mitered square construction. I think I'm loosely based on the knitted patchwork recipe by Martine Ellis. I think. I'm not really following a stitch count or anything like that. I don't do a double decrease in the middle. I do 2 separate decreases. That's about it. It's 15 stitches to a side of the square, and I pick up as I go, and I'm not really following a pattern because I'm a rebel like that. And the last thing that I've been working on, and actually made quite a bit of progress on, I was on the second ball of 5 when I started this. When I picked it up again, rather. Because I put this away many years ago. I started this in 2016 for a coworker who was pregnant. So, yeah. It is the Elvin Pixie Baby Blanket by Tall Gal Knits. It's a freebie on Rav. So I've left all my ends. I always end at the end of a row. My second ball's over here. So this is the end of the first ball. I was about here when I started knitting again. So I've done all of this in the last 2 weeks because I picked it up again about 2 weeks ago. So it is a cute little baby blanket. I'm not sure how it's going to block out because it is 100% acrylic yarn. It is this stuff, which is Schachenmeyer. It's the Schachenmeyer episode because all my yarns are from there. SMC Bravo, which is 100% acrylic. It is a DK weight, I think. I don't think it's a sport, but of course it doesn't. Wow, it doesn't say. I'm under-caffeinated today, so I can't see very well. 100% polyacrylic. So yeah, it doesn't say what weight it is, but I'm thinking it's a DK. It's pretty thin, but I don't think it's quite as thin as a sport. But it's a lovely, lovely soft yarn. It knits up beautifully. Like, look at the stuff. The stitch definition is pretty good. I'm just not sure it's going to block. It may just end up looking like this, which is fine. I mean, I'm not fussed about it really all that much. So that has been, and last night I had to put it down because I was knitting on it and I was like, oh, it's so hot in here. Why is it so hot in here? Because you have a blanket on your lap, dummy. So anyway, yeah, I had to put it down last night. I have since turned the heat off in my apartment, and hopefully I will be able to get a little bit more progress done because I have this much left of the 4th ball, which is about a third. And then this one I'm undecided if I'm going to do a repeat before I start the crochet border because I don't want to run out. I'm going to ask the Hive Mind. Hive Mind, what do you think? Should I knit a repeat from this ball before I start the crochet border or not? This ball so far, where's my end? My ends are curled in, which is why I want a crochet border. So this is how much 2/3 of a ball of yarn is. So that's one pattern repeat right there. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm undecided. What do you think? You guys let me know. So that is the last thing I've been working on. That is done on US 7 needles, which is a US 4.5. I started it in January of 2016, and I'm hoping to finish it in April of 2022. 2022, yes. I've started losing track of what year it is. Never mind what day it is or what month it is. Yeah, I think that's happened to a lot of people in the last couple of years. It has not been fun. So that's everything I've been working on. I have a couple of things I want to dig out. So Andrea is telling me not to chance it, and I also do not like playing yarn chicken, and somehow there's a sock needle in my project. Sorry, my needle is stuck under the laptop. Lovely. So this is one of the projects that I want to pick up next, but I'm not there yet because I haven't found the pattern. I've misplaced the pattern. It's in a book I have somewhere. Clearly that book was not packed with all the other knitting books because they're all on the shelf, and this one wasn't. So it's around somewhere. I probably had it set aside somewhere. This is the School at Play Shawl by Sharon Winsauer in the Sock Yarn One Skein Wonders book. I just picked up the book and I was determined to knit something out of it. I started it. Oh, of course, I'm not going to be able to see that because it's behind. Oh, it's over here too. Yeah. I'm a professional. I started this in April of 2019. So, right. Oh no, pandemic didn't start till 2020. So I started this in April of 2019. It's Crystal's fault, really. Blame Crystal. She had given me a skein of Tanis Fiber Arts blue label fingering in lilac, this stuff. A while back, I think 2017, 2018, because she was like, oh, you've never tried Tanis Fiber Arts yarn before? You have to try it. And she just gave me the skein. So we were talking and she said, so have you ever knit with that yarn yet? And I was like, no. So I picked it out of my stash and I went to try to find a pattern to knit with it. And this is what I ended on. So this is the cutest thing. They're little fishies. There's two streams of fishies, one on either side of the scarf, and it's got like the zigzaggy edging, which will block out better than it shows right now, because right now it's all curled to crap. But it is the cutest little pattern. I'm loving the little fishies, and the little fishies are done in SSKs, pretty much. Yeah, I think they're SSKs. Either the double decreases. But yeah, so you have the eyelets that go around the fish, and then you do the decreases through the fish, and I just really, really enjoy it. I know, I'm pretty sure there's make ones in there somewhere, but so that's one of the future things that I'm going to be picking up when I'm done with the baby blanket and I find the pattern. And the other thing I can't even show you because I'm still looking for the project bag it lives in is the butterfly shawl by Marin Jenets or Marinia. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. This was a sample that I was doing for Christy of Fiber Stash. She had sent me the yarn for it. The yarn is Fiber Stash Dye Works Twinkle Toes in Temple of Sap and Great Scott. So she sent me the yarn for that in March of 2020, and the world promptly blew up. And I completely lost my knitting mojo. I think I've got about 6 inches of it done. It's all, the butterfly shawl, I don't know if you've seen it, is gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. I will put a picture in the show notes. It is all short rows. It is beautiful, and I can't wait to get back into working on it, but unfortunately, right now I'm not entirely sure where it is. It's in a box somewhere. Actually, I don't even think it's in a box, because I had it at the temporary apartment I was living at last summer. I ended up homeless. I ended up sort of homeless for a month. My landlords wanted me to leave my old apartment, and I couldn't move into this one until a month later. So everything I owned ended up in a storage unit, and I ended up in a temporary furnished apartment, which cost an arm and a leg. And yeah, it's been an adventure. So that's all the knitting. I'm actually going on a quest to find that pattern book and project bag this weekend. This is my goal, is to find them somewhere in the house. Because unfortunately there's still a lot of boxes that aren't unpacked, even though I moved in here in July of last year. I have not bought any yarn in probably closer to 4 years than 2. But I did allow myself to be tempted by something on a friend's website last week. And it's already here. So she was very quick to get it to me. I'm extremely happy because look at this. So this is a mini skein set from Cat Lady Design. Whoop, that way. Cat Lady Designs. That's going to be backwards, isn't it? Because I'm an idiot and I don't know how to do this. So these are the Conversation Hearts mini skein set that she put out for Valentine's Day this year, and they are just adorable and I love them. And I hadn't bought yarn in so long, and I was shocked it came so quick too, Andrea. It arrived Monday, and I finally got it out of the mailbox on Thursday. It was not backwards, yay! So, and there's this cute little stitch marker. Whoop, that way. The cute little stitch marker that she included. So this is her perfect sock base, which is 80 superwash merino, 20% nylon. They're 20 grams each. It's a 3-ply fingering. The colors are just fabulous. This is looking a lot more blue than it actually is. It's actually a minty green, but it's being blown out a little bit. So is the pink, but they're just gorgeous, and I love them. And I've been squishing them and sniffing them since I opened the bag. And this, by the way, is what happens when this girl gets a vinyl mailer and just cuts into it instead of trying to rip it open, and cuts the top right off the Ziploc bag. Anyone who knows me is not at all surprised by this clumsiness. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. That is the only yarn I have acquired in a very long time. Well, with the exception of Tom's yarn for his hat. But let's face it, that was out of necessity, and it wasn't fun yarn. He said, I need a navy blue hat. It can only be navy blue, and it can't have anything like fancy on it, or it has to be a plain navy blue hat. And I knit the man a navy blue hat in fingering weight yarn. He does not understand the significance of this. You all will. So that's about all I've been up to. I have nothing else on the go right now. My goal is to start stashing down seriously. So this is where the coaster project comes in. All those boxes up there are bins of yarn. It goes all the way across that half of the closet. That is nowhere near the extent of the bins of yarn. There are probably 2 or 3 times that many bins in the living room that have not been moved into here yet, because I can't get to that side of the closet till we move this behemoth. There's a universal gym in my bedroom, which is going to move to another part of the house. But until I can get access to that side of the closet, the bins are all in the living room on shelves. And there are 2 dressers full of yarn in the living room as well. So my goal is to start stashing down seriously. The stash is eventually going to be moved into the spare bedroom because my daughter moved out, which is another big thing that happened in the last year. But her room is going to become my office. This whole setup is going to be moving in there, as well as all the craft supplies, so that I can actually have a bedroom. Because I literally get up from my desk and I flop onto the bed and I go to sleep. And I would like my bedroom to be a bedroom. I would like it to be my space, not just my office. So eventually that's going to move over there. And so yeah, stashing down is the order of the day for the time being. I will not be purchasing yarn much, I don't think, because, well, A, I can't. And B, I really got to get rid of some yarn. I have frightening amounts of yarn. Some of it dates back to like 2008 when I started knitting. Yeah, I acquired a lot of yarn early on. So that's what I'm trying to do. And next time I will be a little bit prepared. I will have a proper camera. I will have a proper recording set up so I can actually do this. It won't matter what time of day I do this, because I was going to record the other night, but it was dark and none of the cameras could show anything other than, a shadowy figure in a dark room, because my one bedroom lamp is right there. And it's actually on right now. So that's how bright it is, with a big bay window. Well, okay, I have the blinds closed, but it's a big bay window with the lamp right next to it. And this is how bright it is. But I'm really hoping that this will be a return to the podcasting journey. I really enjoyed it last time, and I want to really enjoy it again. I miss my knitting friends very, very much. And I'm hoping that in the near future we can start knitting in public and knitting together and knitting outside of our dark little caves again. So that was a lot longer than I anticipated, and I'm not sure how to stop this thing at all. But I think that's about it for me for episode 67. So I hope you all have a great weekend, and I will see you again soon. Let me try to figure out how to stop this. That wasn't it. What does that thing do? No good. That's the chat. I don't know how to stop this thing. Maybe I just hit the X. Yes.